Good day to all of you. It's a real pleasure to be here, even though I'm in Florida. It's been a long time. Last time that I was speaking at this event, if I recall correctly, I had a broken ankle and short hair and no beard. Now my ankle is healed, but I've become a real old man with no hair in the front and a ponytail in the back and a beard. But it still feels like I'm there with so many friends that I've made, and I just want to greet all of you. It's really special that I can be with you. Next time it will have to be in person. Lots of things has happened with me since we last spoke. I decided that it would be appropriate for me to retire, and then realized after 2 years that retirement does not work for me. I need to be doing something exhilarating. I need to have customers call me and say, when are you delivering, or the system is down. And so what I have done is I have joined a very exciting company called Clicatel. We specialize in messaging systems and particularly in chat banking. And I thought it would be interesting for you to hear a little bit more about what we do and how we think that chat would impact and change the world that we do business, that we do banking in. And so a little bit about Clicatel, if we can go to slide 2. We're actually a 21-year-old company. We operate, we have offices in 4 countries, but our infrastructure and our technology covers more than 220 territories. We were the first company that provided commercial SMS services. We have customers, big brand customers all over the world, including banks, that use our technology to communicate with their customers. We were the first company that partnered with WhatsApp, and the first 500 million subscribers to WhatsApp have been registered with the help of our technology. We were also the first company that deployed chat banking in WhatsApp. And so it's a company with a long history and with many milestones. But what we are doing now, I think, is much more exciting than anything on the journey so far. Slide 3, please. So what is our proposition? Our proposition is that we provide a very intelligent layer with an emphasis on chat and bringing it together with commerce, where we take brands and their services and we expose it to end consumers through all kinds of interfaces, whether it's SMS, messengers, USSD, WhatsApp, Twitter, and so forth. And we do it in a simple way where your customers are, in a way that is comfortable with them. I just need to maybe take a bit of time and make a distinction between chat commerce and something that I think you've heard of a lot, and that is conversational commerce. Well, from our point of view, those are very, very different concepts. Conversational commerce is trying to figure out how to enable customers, the end consumer, to get into a conversation with the brand. Therefore, the emphasis is on getting language right. There's a lot of emphasis on personality, of giving a bot a personality. It's important for the consumer, the end consumer, to understand whether they're actually talking to a woman or a man, and so forth. There's a lot of research going in that area, and while it's relevant, we feel that that's not what is important. We are particularly interested in chat platforms, chat applications on mobile devices that enables customers to interact with their digital world. And it is quite interesting if you go and look at the statistics. Next slide, please, slide 4. That there has been a significant growth in the usage of chat apps. If we look at the trend and what people spend, where people spend their time, then the consumers with mobile phones tend to spend much more time in chat apps, whether that's WhatsApp, Messenger, iMessage, and so forth. And it is therefore clear that customers are getting accustomed, they're getting used to interacting with their digital world through a social interaction by means of chat. And when we refer to the chat economy, we are extremely interested in how we could use the platform to bring commercial services and transactions to end consumers. And that's why we say we bring commerce to where your customers are. It's instead of having to have your app on the phone. How many apps are there? How difficult it is to find the right app when you want to do things, or to remember each of the logon credentials for each of your apps. How much easier would it be if, as a brand, you are stored in the address book of your customer and they could merely interact with you through a chat app, but in ways that they are very comfortable in doing. Not so much to have a conversation with you, but to actually get things done. And that is what we have a specific focus on to achieve. This is not rocket science. Next slide, please. We see that already happening in China with chat applications like WeChat and Alipay, where the transaction volumes have gone through the roof in terms of volumes of transactions and value that is being processed through chat applications. In China, through WeChat, you could actually do person-to-person payments, you could do bill payments, you could pay for your taxi, and there are things that you can buy very easily through the chat application. Why has WeChat not been successful in bringing this technology to the rest of the world? Well, it's because it's a closed system, a walled garden. Everybody has to participate in the one ecosystem of WeChat, and we believe that is not sustainable, and that is quite frankly not where the majority of brands want to go. They definitely don't want to be held hostage by one brand, and they would be looking at offering chat services through many different chat apps, using many different back-end payment gateways, and do it in the way that they wish to do it. And therefore what is needed is a really open platform that can be utilized by banks and other businesses to bring services through the chat ecosystem to their customers. And this is just a natural evolution. Next slide, please, slide 6, of how banking changed over the decades. We've all lived, or some of us still remember the first ATMs and telephone bankings with tone recognition, and then ultimately online banking, internet banking. That was and each of these new phases in banking was triggered by underlying architectural or infrastructure change. ATMs was possible because terminals and connectivity, network connectivity became possible. Before that, it would not be conceivable to have thought of ATMs. Similarly, internet banking or online banking was created in the 1990s when Netscape arrived on the scene and browsers were created. Same with mobile banking. Became more prevalent as the underlying ecosystem developed, whether it was USSD or smartphones, and that underlying ecosystem enabled a new way of reaching your customers to enable them to do banking. What has happened now is we have gone into a phase in the late 2010s where people started embracing a new way of interacting through an infrastructure that is that one we could refer to as the chat infrastructure. And many of these chat providers have started opening up their infrastructure in a way to enable other brands to get access to it. And we are specifically interested in how that could impact banking, because we are of the opinion that it's a much more natural way to bank. It is like sitting in front of your banker, like it has been in the old days, and interacting with somebody or some instance that knows you, knows the context, knows the history, knows your style of interacting with you. And that, we believe, is where people want to go. What about security? I know that you're asking about that. Well, in our view, chat banking actually enables security to be taken to a next level. In Clicatel, we have capability which we refer to as chat behavioral biometrics, where we keep track of indicators that would help us identify possible fraudulent transactions or suspicious behavior. Some people like to end their chat request with please, others don't. If we don't get the please at the end, then we know there's something suspicious. Some people like to have very long messages or respond very quickly, whereas others may have short messages, use specific words, and that gives us a biometric print of your customer. And if there's any behavior outside of the parameters of the behavioral print, we could use out of band security mechanisms like sending an OTP or invoke interaction where you have to enter a password and so forth. So we believe that security in this world has been taken to a new level where security is first and foremost based on knowing your customer. The more interaction you have with your customer, or the customer have with you, the more you would have confidence to interact with them in a secure way. Next slide, please. And if we look at customer preferences, we see that customers actually choose to engage with brands through a chat interaction. Every piece of research seems to show that customers would rather use the chat paradigm to interact with other people as well as brands than utilizing a telephone or an email or all the traditional ways that we used to interact with. In Clicatel, we have developed significant relevant capabilities that has been built together in an infrastructure which we refer to as touch. And touch is, you could think of as an orchestration layer, where you could pull all the relevant things that you require in order to do banking, and for that matter in e-commerce, together in order to provide a holistic solution to banking in a new economy. There are players that provide some of these elements and have solutions in some of these areas, but we believe that it is important to have a holistic approach where all these elements work together in order to bring a solution that is consistent, reliable, and can be flexible. And for that, there's a lot of capabilities that must be made available. Next slide, please. It's easy to look at the value proposition for chat banking, and we have, having deployed our technology in multiple banks, running hundreds of millions of transactions annually, more so than anybody in the industry. We have quite a few metrics in terms of meeting business objectives, commercial objectives. We can show that we can increase revenues by increasing value transactions, increasing the ease with which people can conclude a transaction without discarding it or stopping it. We can show that we can show through our customers that we can reduce cost by taking a lot of the interactions that you currently have through expensive channels, specifically telephone channels, onto the chat platform, which leads to a lot of reduced cost. We can improve the engagement. There's a lot of indications that your customers would be more likely to read a message in one of their favorite chat apps than actually answering a telephone call or responding to an email. And so it's a mechanism where you could get in front of your customer much easier and get your customer to respond. As a matter of fact, today the way that we inform people of fraudulent card transactions is by sending them a message, because we know that it would reach them quicker, that they would respond to it quicker. This type of interaction also leads to better convenience. As I've indicated in one of the other slides, customers actually prefer to interact with brands and with their friends through the chat interface. And so what do you do with the chat interaction? There's significant applications that we have successfully deployed. I thought I would show you two just to give you a taste. I'm sure that there would be a lot of thinking and people that know the Pakistani market much more intimately that would be able to go and innovate. But next slide, please. This would be an example, credit card concierge solution where you, and by the way, I think the QR code may work, where picture a situation where instead of having to activate a card by phoning a call center, you could actually activate the card through your phone, lock it, unlock it, set limits, ask frequently, ask questions, get your card balance, get confirmation about the transaction that would happen, and so forth, highly integrated into a card. Unfortunately, these examples are a little bit US-centric, which is where we do a lot of our work, but I think it might be applicable in Pakistan as well. And then lastly, just an interaction with with a call center. I think the number that you have on the screen is a demo number. It might work. I haven't tested it specifically in Pakistan, but you would have the ability that if your customer phones your call center with a mobile phone, that you could get the customer redirected off the call center directly onto a chat app, and immediately free up your agents so that customers can be self-serviced. We also provide capability where not only can the customer be self-serviced, the customer can also be serviced by agents. The advantage is that one agent could serve 3 or 4 or 5 chats at the same time, which obviously is different to a call center. And so I think I've filled up my time. I really want to thank you. It's so heartwarming for me to think that I'll be able to speak to you in Pakistan, and I just wish you all the best, and may we all get through these difficult times, and that there would be a normalcy again where we could meet in person. I thank you very much.